with them the right. First of all, they've kept the seed of Yah. There is a righteousness, okay, to God's seed because God is good. There is an inherent goodness in this seed, okay? Now, and the flip side is true, but they took with them their writings because some of the people, I'll just say that the Afghans call themselves the B'nai B'nai Israel, or the children of Israel, and and after the overthrow of Israel, they were transplanted. This is according to their legends. They lived as Israelites till Khalid summoned them in the 1st century of the Mohammedans. But you know what? This is why I believe God says there's going to be such a great harvest, and there is beginning to be a huge harvest amongst the the Muslim nations of the world. This is seed of Abraham, people. Okay, so boots on the ground. Okay, so that's good boots on the ground. I want to go a little bit here to the bad boots on the ground, okay? This is from, all right, and that's going to set the stage because the one thing I've learned about all the Bible writings, literature, they're constantly, the prophets are constantly flipping between body, soul, and spirit in these different dimensions, okay? This is actually the 3 dimensions that, Einstein figured out that we live in, and there's 2 more behind that according to Kabbalah, and all the different dimensions, and so, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But let me see, this is from a quote from The Triumph of Righteousness, or it is a book found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is the fragment of a writing found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It has names called The Triumph of Righteousness, or the Book of Mysteries. It is a shortened version of a larger work called The Secret of the Way Things Are, which is another Dead Sea Scrolls text. This is all work of what is called wisdom literature, and I'll get into that, give a little explanation. But what I want you to hear is the Book of Secrets, or the Book of Mysteries. It comes from the word of Raz, R-A-Z, which means in Hebrew secret or sod, or the mystery level. And this understanding, what I want to is up here in this, what I've been trying to touch on last week. There is wisdom and understanding. This is the principal thing. This is what God says to us, like even New Testament Christians, and we get out of Proverbs, get wisdom, get understanding. That is the principal things. That is the secret of the way things are, which is referenced in the Dead Sea Scroll. But I want to read this little clip to you. Do not all peoples loathe iniquity? Well, let me just start up here. It says, they know not the mystery to come, nor do they understand the things of the past. They know not that which shall befall them, nor do they save their soul from the mystery to come. Remember, Paul talks about a mystery of lawlessness. You understand? I keep honing over and over. There is a mystery level to the scriptures that we can know. Now, it says, this word shall surely come to pass, this prophecy is true, and by this it may be known to you that it shall not be taken back. Do not all the peoples loathe iniquity, and yet it is spread by them all? Does not the fame of truth issue from the mouth of all the nations? Yet is there a lip or tongue which holds to it? Which nation likes to be oppressed by another stronger than itself, or likes its wealth to be wickedly seized? And yet which nation has not oppressed another? And where is there a people which has not seized another's wealth? In other words, this is the flip side, the root problem, what bad fruit will produce. And this is, even in the law of karma. And you think of when there were 70 nations originally. After Shem, they morphed into, or after Noah, his boys, into 70 nations, the table of nations. You should read the book of Jasher. There is so much more information to be able to piece this thing together. And God, it is a level playing field. When you play according to God's rules, his Torah, his law, his way on how to live peaceably, there's a level distribution field. But iniquity and sin, the fallen part of man, the seed of the serpent that got in us, that is constantly bringing us to the dark side. Oh yeah, with Star Wars out now, the dark side and all these understandings. What nation has not oppressed another? Even in the West here, what are we doing in the Middle East? Why are we using Middle East oil to run our economy? Quite seriously, people. We have enough oil preserves for us and the rest of the world right on our half of the globe. I mean, what is going on here? What is the root cause? Why are we oppressing whole people groups all over the world for resources that are not ours? This is the whole trafficking that's going on in the world of lawlessness, which is causing a lot of the strife and contention, which is causing the wars and the things that go on. It's what Paul says: the things that work that out of you come wars and strifes and contentiousness and jealousies and hatreds. We have to understand these two sides of the coin, and you have to choose. Choose you this day which one you're going to serve. Anyways, I want to put that aside. Now I want to talk about, going back, I talked about wisdom literature, because the whole point is to get your worldview, your understanding from the Godhead, from this place up here, which is called the crown, which is called Hokmah and Bina, the feminine and the masculine. And you just got to understand Hebrew. There is a mother, there is a father principle. There is this the attributes of God. He truly has delineated himself or revealed himself. Let's say. I'm going to read a quote from. This is a Deuterocanonical book, the Book of Solomon, or the Book of Wisdom, which is a great book. You should read it. It's in your Catholic Deuterocanonical. Why it's whatever. I'm not even going to go to that argument. I have a YouTube channel, a YouTube called "Not All Canons Are Equal." It's one of the very ones I did in the beginning, which you should read and get an understanding of all the literature in the Hebraic Christian tradition that is available to us to get a handle, to begin to get wisdom and get understanding. And it's really, to me, it's all about the writings. Remember when Paul was in prison, he didn't ask for, I think it was to Timothy, he said, just bring me the writings. Bring me my writings. That's really meditating day and night on the writings. That's all. Okay, I'm going to read chapter 7, bits of chapter 7 from the Book of the Wisdom of Solomon. And let me just say this about, there is they're called the Saphonetical works. There is a whole genre of Hebraic literature, and it's called the wisdom literature. And it would behoove you to understand the different types of literature. It's much bigger than the Torah. I think, what do they call the writings? They call it Moses. The writings, it's the prophets, the law, and there's a third thing. Oh, I think it is wisdom. The wisdom, the law, and the prophets. Okay. Because of this, now this is Solomon. This is the testimony of Solomon. And let me just say this one other point, because I'm going to say two things about this. They just lie. You're history people. Solomon was the greatest king that ever lived, of all the kings of the earth. That's what the testimony that God said. He made him a worldwide kingdom. The other thing I was saying, you have to understand the difference between land and world. These are world kingdoms. Most kingdoms encompass pretty much their known world. If they're going to become to the level of a kingdom, Greece, Rome, the Peace Merchant, they really do conquer basically and subjugate the known world, their time, their age. And the world of Solomon was no different. Now they want to tell you, they even want to try to make you doubt there was a Solomon, which is just not going to work. But and Solomon's wisdom was renowned in all of the earth. God filled him. That was his whole point. His heart, unfortunately, why the kingdom did not come, and hopefully I can get to these 2 points. Hopefully I can do this. The sad story of the two houses. It's actually in the exile and the lamentations, this whole concept of some of the prophets are lamenting the dispersion, the exile, the diaspora, because of their sins and their iniquities, to go out into the nations and not to be able to be this nation of kings and priests. Now, let's get back to wisdom. Because of this, so this is Solomon. I prayed, and the ability to reason wisely was given to me. I called out, and wisdom's spirit came to me. I chose wisdom, and this is so important. I chose wisdom above all the symbols of royalty and over any throne. God said there's many principalities, there's thrones, there's dominions. Symbols People, if we would just begin to unpack how both sides communicate through esoterically through symbols, and then this is nothing but symbols. The seraphim is just a bunch of symbols, but what is it symbolizing? Oh my gosh. Those who possess her wisdom are ready to be God's friends, commended for the gifts that come from instruction. God himself is the guide even of wisdom, and God keeps those who already possess wisdom on the right course. That's exactly what Proverbs says. He's given me, Solomon, accurate knowledge of all that is, of how the world is made and holds together, and of the forces at work in the world's essential elements. He's given me knowledge of the beginning, end, and middle. See, you got to understand what he just said. That just packs it all in. That is the invisible world. That is the world. And this is the world that I was beginning to see. Let me read this one more time. He gave me accurate knowledge of all this, because when Solomon built the temple in the Testament, he didn't just use... there were supernatural forces at work. People, you should read again the Legend of the Jews, some of the tales of, and that's why I believe in the mythology, of Solomon's kingdom, his court. That's why Sheba came all across the world, to see this court of this King Solomon. It was so glorious. People, this is not a fairy tale, okay? Get that lie, that stronghold lie of Hasatan out of your mind. So he gives me accurate knowledge of all that is, of how the world is made and holds together, and of the forces at work in the world's essential elements. Okay? We're going to come back to that. And then it goes on here. It says, he gave me the knowledge of animals, the temperaments of beasts. And I will tell you something. He just mentioned animals. Beasts in the Bible is not talking anything at all about, in the animal category, beasts. Beasts, and I'm beginning to get a handle on this, beasts are a whole nother animal. The extraordinary power of spirits, the thoughts of humans, the different types of plants, and the healing powers of roots or herbs. Remember, herbs are for the healing of the nations. Now, he taught me everything, visible and invisible, visible and hidden. Now, I want to just stop here and say one thing, because, and I've done a teaching on this, there's a big difference. And I have to say this, because in the most simplistic level, let me just tell you something what's going on. You are what you eat, and you are what you think. That is basically the sum total of your persona. You are what you eat, and you are what you think. He made herbs, he made plants for our body. It's like the oil that we run on. Your car may run on oil, on gas. We run on God-made, God-ordained herbs and plants, okay? Now, there's a whole nother flip side of this coin, and it's called pharmakia. This is potions. This is a lot of magic, ritual, witchcraft. This is things that people do. This is not what is going to give you a wholesomeness in a godly sense. I mean, I can't unpack, but people, we need to understand things here. You are what you eat, and you are what you think. And the thinking, this is the whole thing in Kabbalah, because sometimes I want to give exhortations in the middle of this. There's a whole concept of the gates. See, and this is a big buzzword today. How do they use gates? Stargates and different things. In the soul category, there are gates in which things come into our soul. And from your soul down, manifesting into your body. They know a lot of diseases start in the mind and the soul in this category and manifest down here. But remember that little childhood kindergarten song? Be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little ears, what you hear. For the Father up above is looking. You got to watch your gates, and what this means biblically. What you see. What you want, what you hear, what you speak, and even your nostrils. And these are called gates, and there's other gates. This is how stuff gets into you in your soul life. This is why it's so, to differentiate between clean and unclean. Why you wouldn't let a little child, you don't want them to watch obscene violence and pornography. What do you think that would be doing? Tripping up the emerging computer programs that are opening them at that little brain to make it good and wholesome, pure and true. I mean, can you mess things up majorly? And is the enemy of our soul constantly trying to traumatize us and traumatize and cause trauma, which, okay. But there's a sixth gate. This is what they will tell you. This is really even funny because, this plays out, that the whole concept between male and female and why are we so different. And women just love to talk. This is the whole thing. Men just are very guttural. And this is a concept because men over here in the masculine, the father and the mother, when you understand the difference between wisdom and the difference between understanding and the roles they play, one is a communicator of the knowledge, one is the actual thought itself. It's just so interesting. But wisdom, the sixth gate is our intuition. Women have this, there is a knowledge. There's something even beyond what you can see and hear and taste. This is the beginning. That's the beginning of getting up here. When you finally, Paul says, look, at the carnal man is never going to understand the things of the Spirit of God because the natural man can't receive it. You're just down here using your eyes and your everything. To live down here in this lowest level is a natural, carnal, fleshly, whatever. Okay, when you really need to be starting to hear up here from the Keturahs, the Father is trying to draw you to Himself. Anyways, I'm never going to get through any of my stuff. Oh my gosh, here. Okay, I just want to go on about wisdom because it's very beautiful. He taught me everything, visible and hidden. Wisdom, the designer of everything, because even think of the book of Genesis in the beginning, and that the Spirit hovered over the face of the waters. The designer of everything that is has taught me. Her Spirit is insightful, unique, holy, diverse, refined, kinetic, pure, spotless, transparent, harmless, delighting in what is good, sharp, unstoppable, overflowing with kindness, delighting in humans, steadfast, secure, not anxious, all-powerful, all-seeing. I mean, that's an unbelievable list. Can't you hear Paul saying, think on the things that are good and true and right and just and holy? Where do you think he got that from? I mean, the guy's reading the writings, okay? They're all learning from each other. So, and he was a master Kabbalist. He understood all this. Okay, wisdom is more mobile than anything that moves. If you can just hear the subatomic, and I'm going to get to these last points. She pervades and embraces everything because she is so pure. The person can go through anything. This is the whole point of the dross and the mixture that's in stuff. But wisdom is totally pure. Wisdom is the warm breath of God's power. Remember, God breathed into Adam. She pours forth from the all-powerful one's pure glory. Therefore, nothing impure can enter her. She's the brightness that shines forth eternal light. She's a mirror that flawlessly reflects God's activity. She's the perfect image of God's goodness. She can do anything since she's one and undivided. These are huge Kabbalistic concepts. I mean, it's just, it's so the physics of the supernatural or the metaphysical world. She can do anything since she never changes, and yet she makes everything new. Generation after generation, she enters souls and shapes them into God's friends and prophets. And there you have Abraham and the whole story of Abraham. God doesn't love anything as much as people who make their home with wisdom. She's more splendid than the sun, more powerful than the arrangement of the stars. She's even brighter than sunlight. For night follows day, but evil can never overcome wisdom. Praise Yahweh, Elohim. Now, that was about wisdom, but what I wanted to tell you, because I know I'm going to run out of time here. We're sticking with, again, the metaphysical more, because I said in the spirit and the soul, there you have to speak parabolically, anthropomorphically, okay, in order to get these concepts. But listen to this. This is what really I began to see, because this has been years of just looking at the scriptures going, God, I know there's something here, and I'm just not getting it. In a Kabbalistic understanding, and I did this diagram last week because this is really how God did the whole simulation. It's a simulation of this 3D world and the other dimensions that we can't see. So if I'm going to construct a world, a 3D, let's just start with that one here, right? Okay, how you do this. Okay, it's a computer program. The Hebrew word letters, and this is the math of the thing. I can't, the combinations of the 22 letters in A, B, and oh my gosh, comes out with some unbelievable number that's zillions of zillions of zillions. I mean, the math in this thing is crazy. But what I do want to say, they have words. The Hebrews have words, or the Kabbalists, to describe. Okay, so I'm going to just read this. So I started seeing these things, relationships between word families. Metal.